Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm a little crooked there, aren't I? All right, thanks for tuning in this morning. And you're ready to start finishing this week off and moving into the weekend. And we're going to need God's wisdom from His Word in order to faith this day, faith the rest of this week, and on into the weekend. Proverbs chapter 17. I'm going to move on to Proverbs chapter 17. I have a few verses picked out. I'm just going to do one at a time. So today, Proverbs chapter 17, verse 3, it says, "The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the hearts." All right, so this is a common image that's used in scriptures. It talks about, gold and silver being in the refiner's pot and being in the furnace, but the Lord testing our hearts. So my understanding is that in order to purify their gold and silver and make sure they had a pure precious metal, what they would have to do is they would have to heat it up in this pot. The refiner would have to put it in a pot. He would have to bring it to extreme heat. And through this extreme heat, the impurities in the gold and silver could rise to the top. And when the impurities came to the top, they could scrape that off. And so every time it went through the refiner's fire, every time it went through the refiner's pot, it would become more and more and more pure. And so what he's saying here in Proverbs, he's saying that gold and silver go through the furnace and they go through the refiner's pot. He says, but listen, the Lord is doing that same thing with your heart. See, the Lord is trying to take the impurities out of our heart and out of our lives. And in order to do that, sometimes, quite frankly, He has to bring about some heat. He has to bring about some difficulties. 1 Peter chapter 1, and it's in verse 7. And it starts in verse 3, and it starts talking about the salvation that God has given us and how it can never be taken away. And he says in verse 6, he says that this is a reason that we need to rejoice. He says, although now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by different trials. He says, so that the genuineness of your faith, which is more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So you see, sometimes some of the difficulties and some of the trials that we go through, they're simply God's way of putting our heart in the refiner's fire and in the furnace so that He can take the impurities out of our lives and He can make our faith pure. He can make it purer and purer so that we can be found to praise and honor and glory of God. So there was another little thing that I've read before about how the refiner could know when he had his gold or silver, his precious metal, when he had it at an extremely pure state. And apparently, he would know when he had it at a very pure state is when he could look down into the pot and he could see the reflection of his own face in that liquid, in that liquefied precious metal. When he could see his own reflection in there, he knew that it was pure. Proverbs 27:19 is an interesting verse. It says, as in water, face reflects face, so a man's heart reveals the man. So what he's saying is, when you can see your reflection in water, he's saying God can see our reflection in our heart. And so when God can look into our heart, and when what He sees is Christ, then He will know that the impurities are gone, our faith is genuine, and it is precious, and it is ready for the glory of God. So don't be discouraged when you have trials. God is simply taking out the impurities out of your heart and out of your life. Remember, the refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart. Take heart if God is testing your heart, all right? You use these wise words from God's Word to get out there in faith today. God bless you guys. Love you. Come see me Sunday, all right? I know you want to. I know you've been intending to. Just come see me Sunday. God bless you. Love you guys. Bye.